Hi, Wycliffe Barrett here, Xplane dedicated. I said I wouldn't do it, but I've changed my mind. I'll see you after the intro.
November 180 Bravo Bravo, good afternoon to you. Report your altitude. 2006.
There have been lots and lots of reviews of the IXEG737. I'm not going to do a review, but I'm just going to fly from Cardiff up to Manchester, ILS approach. So you'll see cold and dark start. You'll see me program the FMC, take off, fly to Manchester, ILS approach and land. Now, I'm not a real world pilot, so procedurally I may do things slightly incorrect, but the aircraft flies, it programs, everything's perfect. Just one mistake, and I wonder if you can spot it.
We're on stand here, it's a beautiful morning. I've done the walk around, so I need to get into the cockpit. So climbing the stairs, through the door and into the cockpit. Oh, let's close that window and get some power on board this aircraft. So first things first, of course, is get some ground power. And there we go, very nice indeed. Going to the upper overhead, turning on the alignment for the IRS, and then put the emergency light switch on. Yaw damper and left fuel pump, window heat, and engine generators, and I think we can now initialize the FMC. We're going from Cardiff to Manchester, so position initialization first of all. So type in my IKO for Cardiff, get the position, move that up, and now we can start creating our flight plan. So we're going from EGFF to EGCC, which is Manchester. This is a straightforward flight, it only takes about 45 minutes or so. Runway 30 is in use, and it's a Brecon 1 Alpha departure. So first waypoint is Brecon. It's always the one at the top is nearest to you, the other one I think is Barcelona. November 864 is the airway, and then we're going to go to Monty. Yes, that one there, why? Okay, so that's it. We do need to do our departure and arrival. Every time you see that white light, I would execute. Some people tend to leave it, but it's just easier to execute. So it's a Brecon 1 Alpha departure, and the arrival into Manchester will be runway 23 right. So we need runway 23 right, and it is a Mercy 1 Alpha arrival with a Mercy transition straightforward. Just make sure that all the legs are there, there's no discontinuities. Looks good. So let's do our perf initialization. So go to the perf page. I'm going to go to flight level 120. If I'm going too fast, I do apologise. Oh, sorry, I put my gross weight in there. And then a fuel plan, and fuel. Taking I think 6.5 tons, and as I say, flight level 120. Outside temperature 16 degrees. Execute. Takeoff page. It's 5 degree flaps. Put in the numbers there. What we need to do is make sure that our V speeds are put up on the speed indicator as well. Just put it in the wind, straight down the runway 330 at 15 knots. So moving over, oh, there we go, there's the alignment. That takes around about 7 minutes, but obviously cut the film a little bit. So I'm just moving the speed bugs now. It's always handy to have the speed bugs there so you can see that you're hitting your numbers. Excuse me. So just put the speed bugs to the speeds that were indicated for takeoff. It was 124 and 126, and then 136 VR. Right, that's very good. So everything's done. We just sort out the MCP here, so the heading is 300 obviously. No, 250 knots indicated. Course is 300. There we go. It's actually, I think it's 301 is the actual heading, but just put 300 in. Initial climb 6,000 feet. We'll sort out the trim. Trim is 3.6, and we're good to go. A horrible phrase, but there we go. So just put some lights on, start the APU. Need the APU bleed on, Wycliffe, come on. APU bleed. See the pressure coming up there. APU bleed on. Now you can start the APU with the recirculation fans in auto. There we go. Switch over. APU. Put all the pumps on. And get ready for our startup, I believe. So just turned engine 2 switch, watching for the N2 to come up. Once it gets to 25%, you can lift the fuel lever. You can hear the engine spooling up, and there we go. 25% fuel is injected, and you can really hear that engine coming alive now. Do the same for the number 1 engine. So watching the N2 rotation. As soon as we get to 25%, we'll be able to lift the fuel lever and get the fuel on board and running through the engine nicely. There we go, 25%. Fuel lever is lifted, and now you can hear the roar of the engines. Just wait for that to stabilize. There we go, and now we can switch over. APU can go off, APU bleed off, APU off. So we're almost complete. I think what we'll do here is we'll push back and taxi down to runway 30, and I'll be back in a moment. Pushback is complete, and we'll start our taxi down to runway 30. It's not a very long taxi here at Cardiff, but it's straightforward enough. There's only one taxiway. So we'll taxi on down, and we go past the fuel farm on the left hand side, and that is where the Iron Maiden aircraft was parked a few weeks ago. Ed Force 1 just here on the left hand side, as we go past the fuel farm. We'll just turn onto the runway here and line up, and we'll be ready to go. We just need to do a couple of final cockpit checks, make sure our lights are all on, and we'll be ready to go. The IXEG737 is a beautiful aircraft. Once you get used to the systems, it's just absolutely amazing. So let me push the throttles forward and let's get ourselves airborne. Just as we depart now from the airport, you can see that aircraft just flying above me. I think they're in the hold over the Charlie Delta Fox. So we're just hand flying at the moment as we depart, and I just turn towards Brecon and then we'll go on to LNAV and VNAV. 737 actually flies like a Cessna once you get used to it, and the delay in the controls. Flies beautifully. You can hear the trim wheel there, auto trimming the aircraft as well. So for the remainder of the flight up into Manchester until we get into the approach phase, we'll have some more music, and you just enjoy the flight and the sights and wonderful sounds of the IXEG 737. Alright, I think it's time that I need to start looking at my approach page and just putting that information into the FMC. So we'll choose approach, and I'm going to choose an approach speed, appropriate landing speed, just activate that and we'll be good to go. Just make sure that I put the frequencies in both left and right nav radios. This is for the ILS at Manchester runway 23. Get that in there, and then put the decision height in. We'll put the decision height at 50 feet, so if I don't see the runway by 50 feet, it'll be a go-around situation. You can make that as high as you want, but based on weather today, I think we'll have it at something like that. Okay, so that is my approach mode set up. Nav radios are set. Just going to set the course for the runway, set the course both sides on the MCP as well, just to make sure that you have everything correct and that you'll be able to capture the VOR and the approach, okay, for your ILS guided approach onto runway 23. Over the years I've flown many different aircraft in FSX and 2004 and a century of flight, etc., etc. And I have to say that in my own personal opinion, this aircraft has got to be the best I have flown in terms of everything: systems, sound, dynamics, everything. It all comes together as one package, and it is a real treat to fly. I really enjoy this. I'm so pleased with this aircraft. Just making sure everything is correct here in the FMC for that approach into Manchester. We're coming up towards Wallasey, so we'll be turning over the River Mersey. There you can see the River Mersey below me, certainly the estuary, so to speak. We'll be turning right here towards Mersey. Here we go. And begin our descent down to 6,000 feet. So I've put that in on the MCP. We need to be at 6,000 feet by Mersey. Turning left now over Manchester as we head out towards our teardrop. And you can see that on the primary flight display there. We're descending down to our next altitude, which is 5,500 feet, as we head out away from the airport for this teardrop turnaround, and then we'll be on approach. Just starting the teardrop, so we turn out to the left and then come around right onto our final approach. And the approach into Manchester on the Mersey 1 Alpha is approximately 10 miles. By the time we've turned around, will be a further 10 miles to run to the runway. So we're now in the final approach phase, and at the moment everything is really stable. The aircraft is stable, no problems. 3,500 feet to capture the ILS. There is the runway ahead, runway 23 right, and the aircraft is stable, everything's good. We're on the localizer, we're on the centre line, and we're descending on the glide slope. So quite soon I'll be able to take full control of the aircraft. Generally what happens, and I've yet to figure out why, and I know it's a pilotage thing, that sometimes as I disengage the autopilot I tend to lose the glide slope. So everything that I've read, including Mike Ray's book, he will recommend that you do not disengage autopilot until about 200 feet. I have a tendency to disengage the autopilot around 1,000 feet, and as you can see I lost the glide slope, but everything's fine. I'm on speed. I will get the glide slope back because I come back underneath it. I can see the VASI lights, there we are. We're on the glide, no problem, and aircraft is mine. Here we go, 300 feet.
200, 100,
Sync rate, slow.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 9,
go, touchdown, reverse thrusters, auto brakes, and here we are at Manchester Airport. Hope you enjoyed that. It's not a full review, it's just me taking off from Cardiff, my favourite airport, and flying up to Manchester on a very short 45-minute flight. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it informative. As always, my name's Barrett, this is Xplane Dedicated, and we've been in the IXEG737. We'll see you soon. Cheerio.
Yeah.